What is up, my friends? Let's talk about the Fear Street trilogy. You heard that right, trilogy, because it ain't over. So this was something that I had seen coming for quite a bit now. It had been teased, but I feel like it didn't really get as much, I would say, buzz as I thought it should get in order for it to really become something. I think once all of it is starting to, people are starting to watch the movie and they're starting to realize just how good it is. Hopefully, the buzz will be there. But this is a trilogy, and Fear Street is pretty much based on books by R.L. Stein. They were more edgier Goosebumps stories, so there's that. But this actually has a lot of Stranger Things connections. Not that it's connected to the universe or anything like that, but just the production wise. So one of the biggest things that I definitely think we see in this is the Maya Hawke, Drew Barrymore feel at the beginning. And this movie pretty much deals with a curse of a witch that possesses townspeople into committing heinous crimes. And so this is pretty much what our whole plot is for this trilogy is there's this curse that was laid upon by this witch, and now they are out to try and finish this curse. So pretty much our story picks up when Dina Johnson, who is actually our main character here, and her brother Josh, their friends Simon and Kate, are actually trying to save Dina's ex-girlfriend at the time, Sam, who is now trying to not get possessed by this witch, but she is ultimately the target of the witch and all of the other people that this witch has possessed over the years. And so the reason why this witch is after Sam is because during a football game there was an altercation between the school that Sam goes to and Dina goes to, and then they were ultimately being some road rage was involved with a bus and the car that Sam was in. The car that Sam was in actually spirals out after Dean throws a cooler at it, and then they disturb the grave, and then Sam is the target of this witch. They are trying to figure out what to do, and they realize that the only way that they can do this is by killing Sam. This is the only way that these killers are going to stop chasing them, and the witch as well. And they actually try to find a survivor of one of the past crimes that the witch has committed in the past, and they find a survivor from the 70s actually survived this. And so what happens is that they try their best to see how they can make all of this go away. Ultimately, Simon and Kate do end up dying in this whole thing. And we see that Dina is just like, okay, there's no other way. I have to kill Sam. She does so. They go away. The demons are all of that. And then they ultimately bring back Sam to life, her and Josh, by using EpiPens and CPR. After this, the police ultimately blame Simon and Kate for everything, as there is no other way to explain the witch and all that to anybody else. And that's just because they sold drugs, so there cannot be anything they can say or do because they're already dead. Ultimately, Sam and Dina do become a couple again, as they were split from the beginning of the film. But then something weird happens. Dina actually receives a call back from the survivor of the 1970 attack, who tells her there is nothing that they can do to escape from the witch and that this is just getting started. And then Dina sees Sam is possessed now and starts attacking her. She ultimately does subdue her and tie her up. And Josh is like, I don't know what to do, but she's like, we're going to get Sam back. And so that was pretty much our ending to this. So this is not the end of this whole story. There are still two more parts, and our second part is going to take us to 1978. It looks like Dina and Josh are going to go with the survivor from that, and there we're going to hear the whole story. And it's going to be pretty much like dramatized for us, as you can see. If you've seen the trailer for part two, it just pretty much at that camp where we saw a lot of the killings take place, and we also saw some of it being interlaced in this movie as well when they were talking about it. So we are definitely going to get a 70s horror type feel movie now, and hopefully find out more about the witch and how she can be stopped. And so this is going to be part two. It should be out this Friday. I'm excited to check it out. I thought the first one was pretty good. I love all the callbacks to a lot of horror movies, especially Scream. As I said in the beginning, Maya Hawke played the Drew Barrymore for this, where we saw her and then ultimately got killed. There's also the 80s and 90s feel, because I think a lot of movies and shows now that were passed from the, like, reliving the 80s are going to go into the 90s. So that's something definitely interesting to see. Another interesting thing about the Stranger Things connection, as I said, is that Lee Janiak, I hope I'm saying that right, is actually married to the co-creator of Stranger Things, Ross Duffer. co-creator. That's another video, my friends. I'm not gonna get into that right now. And yeah, so I think that that is like some pretty cool connections there to Stranger Things. Not that they're gonna be connected anyway. Could you imagine though? We're already dealing with all these dimensions, and then you're gonna add curses and witches to it. I'd be open for that, but that's not what we're here for. So, yeah, I thought Fear Street Part 1 was really good. I'm excited to see where they take the rest of it. I think Fear Street Part 3 is 1666, so that one's going to take us definitely all the way back to the witch and the beginnings and all of that. And I think we're about to find out some interesting things about that as well. So, this Part 2 will be this Friday. I think Part 3 will be next Friday, so tune into those. I definitely will be making videos on them as well, so if you want to hear more about that, let me know. But I think that the only way that they're really going to get rid of this witch is just having to find out exactly what happened, and there is nothing else that they can do besides that. Is like, I honestly thought killing Sam and then bringing her back to life would be the end of it, but there's definitely going to be a lot more to be done here. So we'll see. Fear Street Part 2 should be interesting as well. I really like this whole like American Horror Story type feel to this series as well, but it's not all the way there. Like in American Horror Story, it still feels like this teen slasher films that everybody loves, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all of those. So I think it's a good mashup going on here. I think Netflix has a little bit of a gold mine right here if they can really get Fear Street going into a new anthology type series as well. I definitely can see that happening. So we'll see. Netflix can definitely surprise us with this. I mean, they did with the first part, in my honest opinion, but we'll see how they do with the next part as well. So what are your thoughts on Fear Street? Did you enjoy the series? Well, the first part. Are you going to check out the second part, or are you just done with it? I know a lot of people didn't really like it, and I can see why, but I think you have to take it for what it is. It's not trying to be serious at the same time, but it also isn't trying to be just a joke as well. It's something in between. So I think people really have to see it for what it is, and they'll definitely be like, oh, okay, I get it. So that's just my opinion on Fear Street. Let me know yours down below. As always, if you have not already subscribe right now. Make sure you hit that bell notification bell so you know when the videos drop. Make sure you also are sharing this video. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're so close to getting to 19,000. Hopefully we can get there pretty soon, which I hope we do. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. As always, make sure that you follow me on Twitter. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, where I post some more content as well. And I'm trying to deliver as much as I can. This is the Campfire, where we talk all the things you love about pop culture, and we have a discussion. So don't forget to leave your comment down below, because what's a discussion without your own opinion as well? So as I said, let me know your thoughts on Fear Street, and if you're checking out the second part, and if you're digging this series, or do you think it should just go away? Let me know down below. As always, stay safe, stay positive.